Have you ever been watching some piece of Star Wars content, whether that be a movie or a series or anything else, and wondered, what if this specific situation went differently? Well, that is exactly what this video is about, as I've put together another 10 Star Wars what if series ideas. If Star Wars was to do a what if series like Marvel are currently doing, I've done a part 1 to this, so this is the second video of Star Wars what if ideas. Let's get on with it. So number 1 is a very interesting one, and that is going to be, what if Bail Organa decided that he wanted to have a little boy instead of a little girl? Now this comes from at the end of Revenge of the Sith, where he takes Leia as an adopted child, as he decides, or he points out how him and his wife want a little girl. So if this was reversed and he wanted a little boy, that would mean that Luke goes to Alderaan and then Leia ends up going to Tatooine, meaning that Leia gets trained as a Jedi instead of Luke at first. So how would this affect the galaxy? Would Leia be stronger than Luke? Would she be weaker than Luke? I mean, if we just go straight into A New Hope, would she destroy the Death Star like Luke did? Then in Empire, would she choose to stay on Dagobah, or would she go to Bespin? If she did, would she lose or win to Vader, etc, etc? Something very cool and definitely heavily impactful on the galaxy, and something that I definitely would want to know the answer to, hence why I've got it down as an idea for a Star Wars what if series. So Lucasfilm, Disney, if you're watching, please do this. Now number 2 is one that I'm planning to make a fan fiction video on, and that is, what if Yoda didn't go into exile at the end of Revenge of the Sith? Obviously Yoda went into exile so that he could stay alive, so his knowledge is preserved for when it is needed again, i.e. to give to Luke Skywalker. However, what if Yoda decided that he's already strong enough to be able to stay alive without going into exile, and he decided to fight for the rebellion? Now this would be very interesting, because not only is Yoda like one of the most powerful Jedi ever and would be a huge asset to the rebellion, he has the potential to seek out someone like Darth Vader or Palpatine again and defeat one of them, definitely be able to take on any Inquisitor that ever comes his way, and is definitely powerful enough to sense people like Ahsoka, Kanan, Ezra, Cal Kestis, Cere Junda, etc, and seek them out and go and teach them some things that he knows that he was planning to teach to Luke, which obviously he still can do. So overall this would mean that all the surviving Jedi become more powerful, the rebellion gets stronger as they have Yoda as an asset. So I wonder how this would turn the tide for the war of the rebellion versus the Empire. Would it turn the tide at all? Would Yoda end up seeking out Vader, and would he lose? I definitely think it depends on what version of Vader, how early he goes to find him or anything like that. So yeah, a very interesting one that I would want to find out, like, what would happen if it happened. Now third is another heavily impactful one on the galaxy, and that is, what if R2-D2 and C-3PO's shuttle at the start of A New Hope that lands on Tatooine, when obviously they have the Death Star plans, was shot down. The Empire decided not to shoot down the last escape pod because there's no life forms inside, but what if they just used their brain a little and realized, droids exist, and they shot that down? This would mean that the rebellion do not have the Death Star plans, and then obviously everything that C-3PO and R2-D2 do individually won't be able to happen because they don't exist anymore. This would massively alter the events of the original trilogy and probably the sequel trilogy, as the first Death Star never gets destroyed because they never find out that there is the big hole that Galen Erso constructed within the Death Star, so that it had like a weak spot. This would be a very dark what if series, because I believe that it would go badly. Obviously the Death Star not being destroyed, it would destroy many more planets and cause havoc across the galaxy. I mean, the chances are some rebel soldiers or someone would go to Tatooine to look to see if the Death Star plans survived, and if this happened, it's relatively likely that the Empire may just decide to blow up Tatooine, therefore Luke and Obi-Wan as well, or they send someone like Vader down to fight the rebels and retrieve the plans himself, which again could be catastrophic. Now fourth is another very interesting one of my personal favourites that I don't have an answer or even a clue as to what would happen, maybe a little one, and that is, what if Luke found Hexagon? We learn in The Rise of Skywalker that Luke was actually trying to find Hexagon and he failed to do so. So what if he did? I assume that Luke would be strong enough to defeat a weakened version of Palpatine. So I actually take back what I said about what if Luke found Hexagon. He would definitely be able to take down Palpatine, because obviously Palpatine is weak on Hexagon until he gets the dyad power from Rey and Ben. But I think this would be very, very interesting. How would he react to seeing all the Snokes in the tube and then seeing that Palpatine actually survived? And I guess this would also depend on when he finds Hexagon. Like, does he find Hexagon after he already knows about Snoke's existence? Because if so, then he would learn that Snoke is like some kind of weird clone thing from Palpatine. So yeah, this would be a really cool one. Now 5, sticking around the sequel era, this time The Last Jedi. This is going to be, what if Rey joined Kylo when Kylo put out his hand asking Rey to join him so they can take over the galaxy together. Rey obviously had some kind of a connection to Kylo, not just via their dyad, but obviously some kind of whether it be romantic or friendship, as we saw at the end of Rise of Skywalker, you know, that happened. So maybe that would convince her to join him, at least initially, and then he persuades her to like immerse herself in the dark side. Then eventually she becomes corrupted and, you know, she's too far gone. What if this actually happened? Rey and Kylo Ren, although they may not be the best duelists, are extremely powerful, and given that Luke dies in The Last Jedi and Leia is extremely weak as she is old, I'm not seeing anyone that could stop them. A dark side Rey and a stronger version of Kylo Ren, if they just over the year between 8 and 9 got stronger and stronger and stronger, definitely would be able to defeat Palpatine on Hexagon and both survive, in my opinion. So this would be really, really interesting, and another dark one potentially. Maybe some potential Jedi that are actually alive at this point that don't have confirmed deaths, i.e. Ahsoka Tano, Ezra Bridger, etc, etc, do have to kind of like hunt down Rey and Kylo, because they are the only ones that have a chance, given that their midichlorian count and therefore their potential is through the roof, as one is a Palpatine and one is a Skywalker by blood. Now 6, going the opposite end of Star Wars, back to the prequel era. What if people actually believed Fives? Now in season 6 of the Clone Wars, right at the start, Fives has an arc where he discovers everything about the inhibitor chips, saying how it goes right to the top, knowing that Palpatine is involved in the plot to destroy the Jedi. What if people actually believed him? This would lead to Order 66 failing, Palpatine probably getting arrested, etc, etc. So a lot of people's favourite like what if theories is, what if Order 66 fails? So this is basically that, but showing how it fails. I think this would be really, really good. Obviously Fives is likely to survive in this situation, as he's not seen as some crazy maniac, because people decide to actually believe him this time. Now this is literally the opposite of the dark ones. This could not be a brighter what if scenario, as if Order 66 failed, all the Jedi live, Palpatine's plan is like ruined, and everything goes swimmingly. Luke and Leia can be born and live like long, healthy, happy, powerful lives. Padme doesn't die in childbirth, Anakin never turns to the dark side, etc, etc. Now 7, another one of people's favourites, is what if Qui-Gon Jinn lived in the Phantom Menace? Obviously this would mean that they defeat Darth Maul. Whether that be properly or not, I don't know, nor does it really matter, as the focus of this is what if Qui-Gon lived. And I mean, there's not too much more they could have done to Darth Maul to kill him, unless, like Obi-Wan says, he should have gone for his head, and if they did that, he would probably be dead. But anyway, if Qui-Gon lived, Anakin gets trained by Qui-Gon, who in my opinion and many others would have been a much better Jedi Master than ObiWan Kenobi. Not saying Obi-Wan was bad, but I don't think he was precisely what Anakin needed. So with this in mind, I think that Palpatine would definitely actively try and send people to try and kill Qui-Gon. Say if he recruits Count Dooku, maybe he sends Dooku. Dooku doesn't manage to kill Qui-Gon because, you know, it's his old apprentice. Dooku turns back to the light side or something like that. I don't know, that would be a really, really cool storyline. But at the end of the day, the main purpose of this what if is Anakin getting trained properly by Qui-Gon and probably never turning to the dark side unless Palpatine sends someone to kill Qui-Gon, or even does it himself, which would be really, really cool. Now 8, sticking with the theme of Qui-Gon Jinn and the Phantom Menace, what if Maul killed Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon in the Phantom Menace, meaning that Anakin probably wouldn't get trained at all. And obviously we know Obi-Wan's impact on Star Wars is huge, as he trains Anakin, Anakin trains Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan obviously also trains Luke as well. So if Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon died in the Phantom Menace, Anakin never gets trained, that's pretty bad. Maul obviously living at that point gets to become a part of Palpatine's plan. Or does Palpatine know how many midichlorians Anakin actually has, therefore how much of a potential he has? And if he did, how would he cast out Maul? Would he just kill him? Would he have him and Maul train Anakin? Would Maul sense Palpatine going to betray him to have Anakin become his full-on apprentice instead of Maul? Would Maul kill Anakin because of this? I don't know, but there's a lot that could happen, and I think it would be a really, really good one, especially considering that we all love Darth Maul. And this is kind of like, not the life that he deserved, but the one that he definitely thought he deserved, and he was so close to getting, because he did actually best Obi-Wan. He just got a little bit arrogant at the end, and, well, we know the story from there. Now 9, sticking to the prequel trilogy and another character that is in the Phantom Menace, however this one is based on Revenge of the Sith. What if Padme survived? Obviously she died of sadness in Revenge of the Sith, but what if she survived? What we know of Padme before she died is she was one of the key members of setting up the rebellion. We know that from deleted scenes. I believe they are still canon despite being deleted, or even so, she would definitely become a strong member of the Rebel Alliance after her childbirth. She would be the one that raises Luke and Leia most likely. I'm not sure how much she'd like them to become full-on Jedi, but she'd probably come to terms and realise that they have to become Jedi as they have such high potential, and someone like Palpatine and Vader do exist. Now, she obviously wouldn't want them to kill Vader, as Vader is Anakin, but she probably has a strong hatred for Palpatine at this point, and she knows that she has 2 children that individually stand a chance at doing so, let alone together, especially if they were trained by someone like Obi-Wan and Yoda. This could also lead into the storyline of Yoda not going into exile, or not necessarily lead over, but also include Yoda not going into exile. I don't know, because then Luke, Leia, Yoda and Obi-Wan all being together, if they were all together, that's a lot of like force power in one place likely to be sensed, but at the same time Padme definitely wouldn't allow them to take her children away to some planet to get trained, so I wonder how they would go about it. And last up, sticking to the theme of Padme, basically the opposite of her surviving, what if Zam Wesell from Attack of the Clones was successful in killing her? This means she never gives birth to Luke and Leia because she wasn't pregnant at this point. Anakin doesn't ever marry her, so his attachment to her is nowhere near as strong, meaning that one of his reasons to turn to the dark side, the main one, isn't there. So does Anakin stay in the light? Does Palpatine's plan still work? What actually happens in the Senate at this point, because she is a very prominent politician that causes a lot of decisions to either happen or not. And I also wonder how the Jedi would react to an assassination on someone so important when 2 Jedi were meant to be protecting her. Do they get to the bottom of it? Do they not? Who knows? But something very interesting to ask. What if? Now that is 10 what if ideas for a Star Wars what if series. I have plenty more, so if this video does well, just like the last one did, which you can go and watch, I'll bloop it up at the end in my outro, I will definitely do another if, like I said, this one does well, because I have plenty more good ideas. So yeah, like I said, I do plan to make fan fictions for some of these what if ideas, such as what if Yoda never went into exile, because I feel like that one has a lot of potential. But yeah, I guess that's all. Thank you so much for watching. Please do subscribe if you are new. I imagine if you've got this far into the video, you at least enjoyed it enough. And yeah, comment what you think would happen to each of these what if scenarios. And yeah, thank you for watching. Goodbye.